I found out my husband was paying for my sister's secret abortion, and the truth shattered our family. Hi everyone. Before we get into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel's reach has been dropping a bit, and one of the best ways you can support us is by subscribing. It's quick, free, and helps us keep bringing you new and interesting stories. Your support means the world to us, and together we can grow this channel. Thank you so much. Now let's get to today's story. I'm writing from a temporary account for obvious reasons, and I've changed some details to protect my anonymity. I never thought I'd be the kind of woman who checks her husband's phone. I used to judge those wives. You know, the ones who snoop through receipts and read text messages while their husbands are in the shower. I thought we were different. I thought we had trust. I was wrong about so many things. My name is Elena, and this is the story of how everything I believed about my family turned out to be a carefully constructed lie. This is about the worst kind of betrayal, the kind that doesn't come from strangers or enemies, but from the two people I loved most in this world. Let me start at the beginning, back when life still made sense. I've been married to David for 7 years. We met in college, one of those classic stories where the quiet girl falls for the charming guy who actually notices her. He was studying architecture. I was in marketing. He made me laugh. He made me feel seen. When he proposed on a rainy Tuesday in our tiny apartment, with no ring and flour on his hands from making pasta, I said yes before he even finished the question. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. David landed a good job at a firm downtown, and I worked my way up to senior manager at an advertising agency. We had a small house in the suburbs with a garden I never had time to tend properly. We talked about having kids someday, maybe in a year or two when we were more settled. It was normal. It was safe. It was everything I thought I wanted. My sister Rachel was part of that life too. She's 3 years younger than me, 28 to my 31. Growing up, we weren't exactly best friends. I was the responsible one, the good student, the daughter who followed the rules. Rachel was wild, impulsive, the one who came home with tattoos and boyfriends our parents hated. But as adults, we'd grown closer. She'd calmed down, gotten a job as a nurse, even started talking about settling down herself. She came over for dinner every other week. David liked her. They joked around, teased each other like siblings should. When she went through a bad breakup last year, she stayed on our couch for 2 weeks, crying through entire bottles of wine while we tried to comfort her. That's why it hurt so much. Because I trusted them both completely. The first sign something was wrong came in early March. Rachel canceled our weekly coffee date with some excuse about a work shift. Then she canceled the next week too. When I called her, she sounded distant, distracted. Her voice had this strange quality, like she was reading from a script. "Are you okay?" I asked. "You sound weird." "I'm fine, Elle. Just tired. You know how the hospital is." But I knew my sister. I knew when she was lying. Around the same time, David started acting strange too. He'd always been the type to leave his phone face up on the counter, to answer calls in front of me without hesitation. Suddenly, he was taking his phone everywhere, even to the bathroom. He started working late more often, coming home after 9 or 10 at night, smelling like stress and cologne. "Big project," he'd say, kissing my forehead without meeting my eyes. "The Morrison building is killing me." I wanted to believe him. I tried to believe him. Then came the night that changed everything. It was a Thursday in late March. David had fallen asleep on the couch after another late night at work. His phone buzzed on the coffee table, and I wasn't trying to snoop, I swear. I just glanced at it reflexively, the way you do when something lights up in your peripheral vision. The notification was from his banking app, a transaction confirmation for $850 sent to something called Metropolitan Women's Health Center. My blood went cold. I knew that name. Rachel had mentioned it once, months ago, when she was recommending a gynecologist to a friend. It was a clinic across town, the kind that did routine exams but also specialized in reproductive health, the kind that did abortions. My hands were shaking as I picked up his phone. I knew his passcode. He'd never hidden it from me because he'd never had a reason to. I opened the banking app and scrolled through his recent transactions. There it was. $850 to Metropolitan Women's Health Center dated 2 weeks ago. But it wasn't the only one. There was another payment to the same place for $200, dated a week before that. And another transaction that caught my eye. A payment to a pharmacy for $75, the same day as the first clinic payment. I sat there in the dark living room listening to my husband snore softly and felt my entire world tilt sideways. Why would David be paying for something at a women's health clinic? We had insurance. If I needed anything, it would be covered. And I hadn't been to any clinic in months. The obvious answer crept into my mind like poison. An affair. He got someone pregnant. He paid for an abortion. I couldn't breathe. I set the phone down carefully, as if it might explode, and walked to the bathroom. I stared at myself in the mirror, looking for some sign that I was dreaming. But the woman staring back at me was very much awake, her face pale and her eyes wide with shock. I didn't confront him that night. I don't know why. Maybe I was afraid of what he'd say. Maybe I was hoping there was some other explanation, something innocent that would make sense of everything. Instead, I started looking for answers on my own. The next day, I called Rachel. She didn't pick up. I called again. No answer. I texted her. Need to talk. It's important. She responded 3 hours later. Sorry, busy with work. Call you soon. But she didn't call. That weekend, I went through David's things while he was out running errands. I felt like a criminal, rifling through his desk drawers and checking his coat pockets. I found nothing except receipts for lunch and coffee. All innocent. But then I found his old phone, the one he'd replaced 6 months ago but kept in his nightstand drawer. I charged it up and turned it on, praying it would open without a password. It did. And that's when I found the texts. They were from last year, messages between David and Rachel. At first, they seemed normal. Casual conversation about dinner plans, about a birthday gift they were planning for me. But as I scrolled back further, the tone changed. Rachel. Can we talk? I don't know what to do. David. Not over text. Meet me at the usual place. Rachel. I'm scared. David. I'll handle it. Trust me. My hands were trembling so hard I almost dropped the phone. The messages were from February, just a month ago. Right around the time Rachel started acting strange. I kept scrolling. There were more cryptic exchanges, references to the situation and keeping it quiet and making sure no one finds out. But nothing explicit. Nothing that confirmed what I was terrified to believe. Then I found the call logs. Dozens of calls between David and Rachel over the past 2 months, many of them lasting 20 or 30 minutes. Calls made while David was supposedly at work. Calls made late at night when he claimed to be finishing up drawings. I felt sick. Physically. Violently sick. I ran to the bathroom and threw up everything in my stomach. When I was done, I sat on the cold tile floor and cried until my throat was raw. My husband and my sister, the 2 people I loved most, betraying me together. But I still didn't have proof. Not real proof. Just suspicious payments and vague text messages that could mean anything. I needed to know for sure. On Monday morning, I called Metropolitan Women's Health Center. I disguised my voice slightly and said I was calling to verify a payment made by my husband for a procedure. The receptionist was polite but firm. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I can't discuss any patient information or payments over the phone. You'd need to come in with proper identification. It's under the name David Chen, I pressed. I just need to know what the payment was for. I understand, but I really can't help you without proper authorization. Patient privacy laws are very strict. I hung up, frustrated, but I wasn't done. That afternoon, I drove to the clinic myself. It was in an older building downtown, discreet and professional looking. I sat in my car across the street for 20 minutes, trying to gather the courage to go inside. Finally, I did. The receptionist was a young woman with kind eyes. I told her I needed to verify a payment, that I was Mrs. Chen and my husband had made a transaction I didn't understand. I'll need to see your ID, she said. I showed her my driver's license. She typed something into her computer, frowning slightly. I'm showing a payment from David Chen, but the patient on file isn't you. I'm sorry, but I can't give you any information about another patient, even if your husband paid for their procedure. My stomach dropped. Can you at least tell me the date of the appointment? She hesitated, then said quietly, March 10th. That's all I can say. March 10th. 2 weeks ago. The same date as the $850 a payment. Was the patient Rachel Morrison? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The receptionist's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. She didn't confirm or deny it. She just said, I'm sorry, I really can't discuss this. But I had my answer. I walked back to my car in a daze. Everything was confirmed now. David had paid for Rachel's abortion. My husband had gotten my sister pregnant, and then paid to make it go away. I drove home mechanically, my mind completely blank. When I got there, the house was empty. David was still at work. I sat on the couch, still wearing my coat, and stared at nothing. How long had it been going on? Months? Years? Had they been laughing at me the whole time, pitying stupid Elena who didn't notice what was happening right under her nose? I thought about all the dinners we'd shared, all the times Rachel had sat at this table and smiled at me while hiding this secret. I thought about David kissing me goodbye in the mornings, then calling my sister the moment he left the house. The betrayal was complete. Total. Devastating. But underneath the pain, something else was growing. Anger. Cold, sharp anger that cut through the fog of shock and heartbreak. I wasn't going to cry anymore. I was going to get answers, real answers, the whole truth. And then I was going to destroy them both. That evening, when David came home, I acted normal. I kissed him hello, asked about his day, heated up the leftovers I'd made the night before. He seemed relieved that I wasn't asking questions, that everything appeared fine. Fool. After dinner, I told him I was going to bed early, claiming a headache. Instead, I lay in the dark bedroom with my laptop, digging deeper. I logged into our shared bank account and downloaded 6 months of statements. I went through every transaction, looking for patterns, and I found them. Small cash withdrawals, always $100 or $200, made every few weeks. Charges to restaurants I'd never been to on days when David claimed to be working late. A hotel charge from 2 months ago to a place downtown on a Wednesday afternoon when I'd been at a conference. I cross-referenced the dates with Rachel's social media posts. On the day of the hotel charge, she'd called in sick to work. She'd posted a photo of coffee and a book, claiming to be having a lazy day at home. They'd been careful, but not careful enough. I made a spreadsheet, documenting everything. Dates, times, amounts, locations. I took screenshots of the text messages on the old phone. I photographed the bank statements. I was building a case, piece by piece. But I still needed to hear them admit it. I needed a confession. The next morning, I called Rachel again. This time, I didn't ask. I demanded. We need to talk. Today. Come to the house at 3 o'clock. Don't make excuses. There was a long silence. Then, quietly, okay. She arrived exactly at 3, looking terrible. Her hair was unwashed, pulled back in a messy bun. She wore no makeup, and there were dark circles under her eyes. She looked like she'd been crying for days. Good. I let her in without a word and led her to the living room. We sat across from each other, the coffee table between us like a barrier. You've been avoiding me, I said calmly. I've been busy. Don't lie to me anymore, Rachel. Please, I can't take any more lies. Her eyes filled with tears. Did you have an abortion on March 10th at Metropolitan Women's Health Center? The color drained from her face. For a moment, I thought she might faint. How did you? She closed her eyes. A tear rolled down her cheek. Yes. The word hung in the air between us. Yes. Confirmation. The last tiny hope I'd been clinging to. That maybe I was wrong, maybe there was some other explanation evaporated. And David paid for it. Elle, please, answer me. Did David pay for your abortion? Yes, she whispered. He did. I felt nothing. No tears, no rage, just a strange, cold emptiness. How long have you two been sleeping together? It's not like that. How long, Rachel? She was sobbing now, her whole body shaking. We're not together, Elle. I swear. It was just once. One terrible mistake. When? February. Late February. We were both drunk, and I was upset about Mark, and David was stressed about work, and it just happened. It just happened, I repeated flatly. You just accidentally fell onto my husband's dick. She flinched. I know how it sounds, but I swear it was only once, and we both regretted it immediately. We were going to tell you, but then you found out you were pregnant. She nodded miserably. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't keep it. How could I keep it? And I couldn't tell you. It would destroy you. So you decided to lie instead. That was so much better. David wanted to tell you. I'm the one who begged him not to. I thought if we just dealt with it quietly, if we made it go away, maybe we could all move on and you'd never have to know. How considerate of you both. I'm so sorry, Elle. I'm so sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything, but I am. I hate myself for what I did. I hate myself every single day. I stared at her. This person who looked like my sister but suddenly seemed like a stranger. Did you love him? What? No, Elle, no. It wasn't about love. It was just stupid and wrong and a terrible mistake. Does he love you? No. He loves you. He's always loved you. That's why this is so messed up. I laughed, but it came out bitter and harsh. If he loved me, he wouldn't have fucked my sister. Rachel flinched again. You're right. I'm not trying to defend what we did. There's no defense. We betrayed you in the worst possible way. We sat in silence for a long moment. Rachel cried quietly, and I just watched her, feeling like I was observing the scene from somewhere far away. Finally, I asked the question that had been eating at me. Was it really just once? She looked up, eyes red and swollen. Yes, I swear on everything, Elle. Just once. And there's nothing else you're hiding? No other secrets? She hesitated, just for a second, but I caught it. What? I demanded. What else is there? Nothing. There's nothing else. You're lying. I can tell when you're lying, Rachel. What else aren't you telling me? It's not about me and David. It's something else. Tell me. She shook her head. I can't. It's not my secret to tell. Whose secret is it? She didn't answer. A terrible suspicion was forming in my mind. Is someone else involved in this? No, not like that. Elle, please, you have to let this go. Who else knows about the abortion? She went very still. What do you mean? Who else knew? Did you tell anyone? Mom? A friend? No, just David and me. And the clinic staff, obviously. You're sure? Yes. Why are you asking me this? I pulled out my phone and opened the photos I'd taken of David's bank statements. I showed her a transaction from mid-February before she got pregnant. A wire transfer for $5,000 to an account I didn't recognize. What's this? I asked. Rachel stared at the screen and the blood drained from her face. I don't know. That's a lie. Tell me the truth, Rachel. What is this money for? I don't know, she insisted, but her voice was shaking. Rachel. I don't know. She stood up abruptly, backing away from me. I can't do this anymore. I came here to apologize, to try to make things right, but you're treating me like a criminal. You are a criminal. You slept with my husband. One time. One drunken mistake. I'm not some evil seductress who stole him away from you. We both fucked up, and we both feel terrible about it, but I can't change what happened. Then what's the $5,000 for? She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. Ask David. It's his money. Rachel, wait. But she was already gone, slamming the door behind her. I stood in the empty living room, my heart pounding. Something wasn't adding up. The affair, The abortion. Those were awful, but they almost made sense in a terrible way. But that $5,000 transfer? That felt like something else entirely. I needed to talk to David. He came home at his usual time, around 6:30. I was waiting for him in the living room, all the evidence spread out on the coffee table. Bank statements, screenshots, printed emails, everything. Elle? What's all this? Sit down, David. Something in my voice made him go pale. He sat down slowly, his eyes scanning the papers. I know about Rachel, I said. I know about the abortion. I know everything. For a long moment, he didn't speak. Then he put his face in his hands and said, "Oh God, is that all you have to say? How did you find out? Does it matter?" No, I suppose it doesn't. He looked up at me and I was surprised to see tears in his eyes. Elle, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It was the biggest mistake of my life. Which part? Sleeping with my sister or getting caught? All of it. Every part of it. I've been sick over this. Literally sick. I wanted to tell you so many times, but Rachel begged me not to. And I thought maybe if we just dealt with it quietly, maybe you could be spared the pain. You thought lying to me would spare me pain? I know how that sounds. I know. But I was panicking, Elle. I didn't know what to do. How about not sleeping with my sister? That would have been a good start. He nodded miserably. You're right. You're absolutely right. Tell me exactly what happened. From the beginning, I want every detail. So he told me. The same story Rachel had given me, more or less. A night in late February when they were both drunk and emotional. They'd gone out for drinks together, supposedly to plan my birthday surprise, and one thing led to another. They had sex in his car, of all places, like teenagers. Both of them regretted it immediately. We didn't even kiss afterward, he said. We just sat there in shock, realizing what we'd done. And then we both swore we'd never tell anyone, that we'd pretend it never happened. But then she got pregnant. She called me 3 weeks later, completely hysterical. She'd taken a test and it was positive. She didn't know what to do. So you paid for the abortion. What else could I do? Let her handle it alone? It was my responsibility, too. You could have told me. And destroy our marriage? Destroy our entire family? You destroyed it anyway, David. You just did it in the most cowardly way possible. He nodded, tears streaming down his face. I know. You're right. I'm so sorry, Elle. If I could go back and change everything, I would. But you can't. No, I can't. We sat in silence for a moment. Then I picked up the bank statement showing the $5,000 transfer. What's this for? He looked at it and went very pale. Where did you find that? In our joint account. You transferred $5,000 to an account I don't recognize in mid-February, before Rachel got pregnant. What was it for? It's not related to Rachel. Then what is it related to? It's complicated. Try me. He hesitated, and I saw real fear in his eyes. Elle, there are some things that are better left alone. Don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare keep more secrets from me. What was the money for, David? I can't tell you. Can't or won't? Both. Elle, please, you have to trust me on this. I laughed incredulously. Trust you? You slept with my sister and got her pregnant and you want me to trust you? This is different. This isn't about me and Rachel. This is about something else. Something bigger. What does that mean? It means there are other people involved. People who would be hurt if this came out. A chill ran down my spine. What people? David, what the hell are you talking about? I can't tell you. I'm sorry, but I can't. Is it illegal? Are you laundering money or something? No, nothing like that. It's a family matter. Whose family? He didn't answer. David, whose family? Yours, he said quietly. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. What? The money was for your family, to help with something, but I promised I wouldn't tell you about it, and I can't break that promise. Who did you promise? Rachel? No. Then who? He shook his head. I can't say. I grabbed the papers and threw them at him. Stop protecting everyone else and tell me the truth. I'm your wife. I deserve to know what's going on. You're right. You deserve to know, but it's not my place to tell you. You need to talk to your mother. My mother? The room seemed to tilt. What does my mother have to do with this? Everything. The money was for her. Ask her, Elle. Ask her about February and she'll tell you. Tell me what? I can't. I'm sorry. I know I've lost your trust and I know this makes everything worse, but I made a promise to your mother and I have to keep it. I stood up, my whole body shaking with rage. Get out. Elle, get out of this house right now or I swear to God I will call the police. This is my house too. I don't care. Get out. He stood up slowly, looking broken and defeated. Where should I go? I don't care. A hotel? Your parents' place. Hell, anywhere but here. He nodded and walked toward the door. Then he turned back. For what it's worth, I do love you. I've always loved you. And I'm sorrier than you'll ever know. Go. He left. The moment the door closed, I collapsed onto the couch and finally let myself cry. Not quiet, dignified tears, but ugly, desperate sobbing that came from somewhere deep and primal. I cried for my marriage, for my sister, for the family I thought I had and the lies I'd been living with. But mostly I cried because I knew it wasn't over. David's revelation had opened up a whole new nightmare. What did my mother have to do with any of this? What secret was so big that my husband had paid $5,000 to keep it hidden? I had to know. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing through possibilities. Was my mother sick? Did she need money for treatment? But why would that be a secret? We were a close family. If she needed help, she would have asked. Unless it was something she was ashamed of, something she didn't want me to know about. At 7 a.m, I called her. Elena? Honey, it's so early. Is everything okay? I need to see you today. It's important. Of course, I'm free this morning. Do you want to come over for coffee? I'll be there in an hour. My parents lived in a tidy ranch house in a suburb about 30 minutes away. My father had already left for work when I arrived. My mother greeted me at the door with a hug and a smile, but it faded when she saw my face. Elena, what's wrong? You look terrible. We need to talk, Mom. We sat at her kitchen table, the same table where I'd eaten countless meals growing up. She poured us both coffee, her hands steady and sure, and waited for me to speak. I know about David and Rachel, I said. Her face went blank. What do you mean? I know they slept together. I know about the abortion. David told me everything. She set down her coffee cup very carefully. I see. Did you know? No, not until this moment. Don't lie to me, Mom. Please, I can't take any more lies. I'm not lying. I had no idea about your sister and David. Elena, I'm so sorry. That's awful. David gave you money in February. $5,000. What was it for? Her expression shifted. Something guarded came into her eyes. That's a private matter. Mom, my husband is involved. That makes it my business. It's not related to David and Rachel. It's something completely separate. Then tell me what it is. She looked away, staring out the window at her garden. Some things are better left in the past, honey. That's what David said, but I'm done with secrets. I'm done with people protecting me from the truth like I'm a child who can't handle it. Tell me what the money was for, or I'm walking out that door and you'll never see me again. She looked at me sharply. Don't say things like that. I mean it, Mom. I'm at my breaking point. My husband cheated on me with my sister. They killed their baby and lied to my face about it. And now I find out there's some other secret involving you and David and God knows who else. So either you tell me the truth right now, or we're done." For a long moment, she didn't speak. Then she sighed deeply, suddenly looking much older than her 56 years. "The money was for Rachel," she said quietly. I felt like I'd been slapped. "What?" "Rachel needed money. I asked David to help." "Why would Rachel need $5,000 in February?" "Because she was in trouble." "What kind of trouble?" My mother stood up and walked to the window, her back to me. "Rachel has a problem, Elena. A serious problem. She's been struggling with it for years." "Struggling with what?" "Gambling." The word hung in the air. Gambling. I tried to process it, but it didn't make sense. "Rachel doesn't gamble." "Yes, she does. She has for a long time. Online poker mostly. Sports betting. It started small, just for fun, but it got out of control." "Why didn't anyone tell me?" "Because she begged us not to. She was ashamed, and she kept promising she'd stop, that she'd get help, but she never did. And in February, she got into serious trouble. She owed money to some very bad people." "How much money?" $10,000. My head was spinning. "She owed 10 grand to loan sharks?" "Not exactly loan sharks, but dangerous people, yes. They were threatening her. They said if she didn't pay up, they'd hurt her. She came to me, terrified, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't have that kind of money. Your father and I have been struggling with our own debts. So you asked David." "I asked him for a loan. I explained the situation and he agreed to help. He gave me $5,000 and I scraped together the rest from our savings and a loan from your Aunt Marie. We paid off Rachel's debt." "And you didn't think I should know about this?" "Rachel made me promise not to tell you. She said you'd never understand, that you'd judge her. And frankly, I agreed. You've always been so perfect, Elena. So responsible and put together. Rachel was afraid you'd look down on her." I felt anger flare up again. "So instead, you all decided to lie to me." "We didn't lie. We just didn't tell you." "That's the same thing, Mom." "Is it? Is it really?" She turned to face me, and there were tears in her eyes. "You're so angry right now, and I understand why. But try to see it from our perspective. Rachel was in danger. Real, physical danger. David helped us save her. He did a good thing. He lied to me while he was doing it. Would you have given him permission to loan us the money if you'd known?" I opened my mouth to say yes. Of course I would have. But I stopped. Would I have? If I'd known Rachel had a gambling problem, that she'd gotten herself into debt with dangerous people, would I have been sympathetic? Or would I have been judgmental and angry, lecturing her about responsibility and consequences? I didn't know. "So the affair," I said slowly, "happened after David helped Rachel with her debt?" "I suppose so. If you say it was in late February and he gave us the money in mid-February, then yes." "Do you think they slept together because of the money? Like maybe Rachel felt grateful or obligated?" My mother's face went hard. "Don't you dare suggest that. Your sister is not a prostitute." "I'm not saying she is. I'm just trying to understand why this happened." "Because people make mistakes, Elena. Because life is messy and complicated, and sometimes good people do terrible things without meaning to." That's a hell of an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's the truth. We stared at each other across the kitchen. I felt exhausted suddenly, bone-deep tired. All the anger was still there, but underneath it was just profound sadness. "I don't know if I can forgive them," I said quietly. "Either of them. I'm not asking you to forgive them right now. I'm just asking you to try to understand that this situation is more complicated than you think." Complicated. That's one word for it. My mother came over and took my hands in hers. "I know you're hurting, and I know I failed you by keeping this secret. But please, try not to destroy your family over this. Rachel made a mistake. David made a mistake. But they both love you very much. If they loved me, they wouldn't have done this. That's not fair. Love doesn't make people perfect. It doesn't mean they'll never hurt you. It just means they'll feel terrible when they do." I pulled my hands away. I need time to think. About all of this. Of course, take all the time you need. I stood up to leave, but something occurred to me. Mom, did you know about the abortion before today? She hesitated. No, but I suspected something was wrong. Rachel's been so distant lately, and she looked awful the last time I saw her. I asked if she was okay, and she said she was fine, but I didn't believe her. She's not fine. None of us are fine. No, my mother agreed sadly. No, we're not. I left my mother's house feeling more confused than ever. The affair was bad enough, but now there was this whole other layer to the story. Rachel's gambling problem, the debt, David's loan. It all felt connected somehow, but I couldn't quite see the pattern. Over the next few days, I moved through life like a zombie. I called in sick to work. I ignored calls and texts from David and Rachel. I lay in bed for hours, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what to do. Part of me wanted to file for divorce immediately, to cut both of them out of my life forever. But another part of me kept hearing my mother's words. This situation is more complicated than you think. Was it? Or was I just making excuses for people who didn't deserve them? On the fourth day, Rachel showed up at my door. I know you don't want to see me, she said when I opened the door. But please, just give me 5 minutes. I almost slammed the door in her face. But something stopped me. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the fact that she looked even worse than before, like she'd been crying nonstop for days. I let her in. We sat in the living room again, the same positions as before. But this time, something felt different. Rachel looked broken in a way I'd never seen before. Mom told me you know about the gambling, she said quietly. Yes. I'm sorry I didn't tell you myself. I was ashamed. You should be ashamed, but not about the gambling. About what you did with David. She nodded, tears already streaming down her face. You're right. The gambling was stupid, but sleeping with David was unforgivable. So why did you do it? She was silent for a long moment. Then she said, Because I'm broken, Elle. I've been broken for a long time and I didn't know how to fix myself, so I just kept making things worse. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have. That night I was so drunk and so miserable. I'd just paid off that debt, but I knew it wouldn't be the last time. I knew I'd gamble again, lose again, destroy myself again. And David was there, and he was kind, and he was safe. And for one stupid moment, I thought maybe if I did something really terrible, it would shock me into changing. That makes no sense. I know. Nothing I do makes sense. That's the problem. She looked at me with red, swollen eyes. Do you know what the worst part is? It wasn't even good. We were both so drunk we could barely function. And the second it was over, I knew I'd just destroyed the only good thing in my life. You. My sister, my best friend, the only person who ever believed I could be better than I am. I'm not your best friend anymore. I know. Her voice broke. I know. We sat in silence. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to scream at her, to tell her to get out and never come back. But looking at her, I just felt tired. Why did you tell David not to tell me? I asked. Because I'm a coward. Because I thought if you never knew, maybe I could pretend it didn't happen. Maybe I could live with myself. She laughed bitterly. But I couldn't. Every time I saw you, every time you smiled at me or hugged me or told me you loved me, it was like a knife in my chest. I wanted to die, Elle. I seriously wanted to die. Don't say that. Why not? It's true. After the abortion, I went home and sat in my bathroom with a bottle of pills. I was going to take all of them. I had the bottle open, the pills in my hand. And then I thought about you finding out. About you having to deal with my suicide on top of everything else. And I couldn't do it. Even in death, I couldn't stop hurting you. I felt something crack inside me. Despite everything, despite the betrayal and the lies and the pain, I didn't want my sister to be dead. I didn't want her to hurt herself. Rachel, I'm not telling you this to make you feel sorry for me. I'm telling you because you deserve to know how much I've suffered for what I did. Not as much as you're suffering, I know. But I want you to know I'm not walking around free and happy. I'm in hell. I've been in hell for weeks. Good, I said, but my voice was hollow. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even want you to forgive me. I just want you to know that I love you and I'm sorry. And if I could go back and change everything, I would. But you can't. No, I can't. She stood up. I'm going to leave now. I just wanted you to hear that from me. And I want you to know that I'm getting help, real help. I'm seeing a therapist. I'm in Gamblers Anonymous. I'm trying to fix myself so I never hurt anyone like this again. That's great, Rachel. Really. But it doesn't change what you did. I know. She walked toward the door, then paused. There's one more thing. Something I need to tell you. My stomach dropped. What? That night. The night David and I... It wasn't random. We didn't just run into each other at a bar. What do you mean? She turned to face me, and her expression was anguished. David called me. He asked me to meet him. He said he needed to talk about something important, something about you. My blood ran cold. About me? He said you'd been acting strange, distant. He was worried you were unhappy in the marriage. He wanted my advice on how to fix things. I thought back to February. Had I been distant? Maybe. I'd been stressed about a big project at work, putting in long hours. But unhappy? No. I'd been tired, but I loved David. I loved our life together. So you met him to talk about me? And then you slept with him? He was so worried, Elle. He kept saying he was afraid of losing you, that he didn't know what he'd do if you left him. And I was drunk, and I was in such a dark place, and I thought... I don't know what I thought. That maybe if I showed him someone who was really broken, he'd realize you were perfect. That maybe if he saw how messed up I was, he'd appreciate what he had with you. So this was what? Some kind of twisted object lesson? I know how crazy that sounds, but I wasn't thinking straight. I haven't been thinking straight for a long time. I felt sick. Did he initiate it? No, I did. He was talking about you, about how much he loved you, and I kissed him. And he was drunk too, and sad, and he didn't push me away. We both just let it happen. Jesus Christ, Rachel. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Stop apologizing, I shouted. Stop apologizing and just leave. She flinched but nodded. Okay, I'm going. But Elle, one last thing. David didn't want any of this. The affair, the abortion, the lies. He wanted to tell you everything. I'm the one who begged him not to. So if you're going to hate someone, hate me. Not him. I have enough hate for both of you. She nodded sadly and left. I sat alone in the living room for a long time after she was gone. My mind was churning, trying to process everything she'd told me. David had been worried about our marriage. He'd reached out to Rachel for help, and then everything had spiraled out of control. But there was something else bothering me. Something Rachel had said that didn't quite add up. David had been worried I was unhappy, but I hadn't been unhappy. I'd been busy, yes, but not unhappy. So why had he thought I was? Unless... A terrible thought occurred to me. I grabbed my laptop and opened my email. I searched for messages from February, looking for anything unusual. And there, buried in my sent folder, was an email I didn't remember sending. It was to a divorce attorney. The subject line was, "Consultation request." The email was brief. "I'm considering ending my marriage and would like to discuss my options. Please let me know your availability for a consultation." I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. I hadn't sent this email. I knew I hadn't. but it was in my sent folder, dated February 18th. Someone had sent it from my account. With shaking hands, I checked my email settings. I'd always been terrible about security, using the same password for everything and leaving my laptop unlocked when I was home. Someone had accessed my email and sent that message. And then I checked my deleted items. There was a reply from the attorney, dated February 19th, confirming an appointment for February 22nd. I'd never seen this email before. Someone had deleted it, but there was more. In my trash folder, I found other emails I didn't remember deleting. Messages from my sister from January and early February. Casual check-ins asking how I was doing. All deleted. Someone had been managing my email. Deleting messages from Rachel. Sending fake emails to divorce attorneys. Someone had been trying to manufacture evidence that I was unhappy in my marriage. But who? And why? My phone rang. It was David. Elle, we need to talk. Can I come over? Yes, I said. We definitely need to talk. He arrived 20 minutes later. I was waiting for him at the kitchen table, my laptop open to the fake email. Did you send this? I asked, pointing at the screen. He leaned over to read it, then frowned. Send what? This email to a divorce attorney, sent from my account in February. His face went pale. What? No, Elle, I would never. Someone did. Someone accessed my email and sent this message. And then they deleted the attorney's reply so I'd never see it. And then they deleted a bunch of emails from Rachel, trying to make it look like we weren't close anymore. David sat down heavily. My God. You said you were worried about our marriage in February, that you thought I was unhappy. Why did you think that? Because... He paused, looking confused. Because Rachel told me. What? Rachel called me in mid-February. She said she was worried about you. She said you'd been distant with her, that you'd been talking about maybe taking a break from me, that you seemed unhappy. She thought I should know. Everything clicked into place. She set us up? I whispered. What? Rachel set us up. She sent that email from my account to make it look like I was considering divorce. Then she deleted the evidence so I wouldn't know. Then she called you and told you I was unhappy. She manufactured the whole situation to make you vulnerable, and then she swooped in when you were at your weakest. David looked like he'd been punched. No, she wouldn't. Why would she do that? Because she's sick. Because she's been spiraling for months, maybe years, and she's self-destructive. She doesn't just destroy herself, David. She destroys everyone around her. But the gambling debt was real. I gave your mother money. I'm sure the debt was real. But that doesn't mean she didn't also manipulate you. Maybe that's what gave her the idea. You helped her with money, showed her kindness when she was at her lowest, and she fixated on you. Or maybe she's been jealous of me for years and this was her chance to take something of mine. Jesus. David put his head in his hands. I didn't see it. I should have seen it. Neither of us saw it. We sat in silence for a moment. Then David looked up at me. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. I need time to think. Are you going to divorce me? I don't know. Elle, I know I messed up. I know I should have told you everything from the beginning, but I really do love you. I've always loved you, and I never wanted to hurt you. But you did hurt me, David. Even if Rachel manipulated the situation, you still made the choice to sleep with her. You still lied to me for weeks. You're right. I did. And I'll spend the rest of my life regretting it if that's what it takes to make things right. I don't know if things can be made right. Can you at least try? Can we try? I looked at my husband, this man I'd loved for 7 years. The man who'd made me laugh and held me when I cried and promised to love me forever. The man who'd betrayed me in the worst possible way. I need time, I said finally. I need space to figure out what I want. How much time? I don't know. Maybe weeks, maybe months. And in the meantime? In the meantime, you stay somewhere else. We don't talk unless it's absolutely necessary. And I figure out if I can ever trust you again. He nodded, tears in his eyes. Okay, whatever you need. And David, I want you to cut off all contact with Rachel. Block her number. Block her on social media. If she tries to reach you, you ignore her. Already done. I blocked her the day you found out. Good. He stood to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I think you're wrong about Rachel. I don't think she manipulated me. I think she's just broken and scared, and she made a terrible mistake. Maybe, I said. Or maybe she's more calculating than either of us want to believe. After he left, I sat at the kitchen table for hours, trying to decide what to do. Part of me wanted revenge. I wanted to expose Rachel to our entire family, to make sure everyone knew what she'd done. I wanted to destroy her the way she'd destroyed me. But another part of me just felt empty. Revenge wouldn't undo what happened. It wouldn't erase the pain or fix my marriage. It would just create more pain, more destruction. In the end, I decided on a different approach. I called my mother and told her everything. The fake email, the deleted messages, the manipulation. She was shocked, then angry, then heartbroken. I'll talk to her, she said. I'll make sure she gets real help. Not just therapy, but intensive treatment. Whatever it takes. Don't tell her I know about the email, I said. I don't want her to know I figured it out. Why not? Because I want her to think she got away with it. I want her to live with that guilt. And maybe someday, when she's healthy enough, she'll confess on her own. But until then, she doesn't get the relief of knowing I understand what she did. It was cruel, maybe. But I'd earned the right to be cruel. Over the next few weeks, things slowly started to settle. David found an apartment across town. Rachel checked herself into a treatment facility for addiction and mental health issues. My mother called me every few days to check in, always apologetic, always worried. And me? I threw myself into work. I went to therapy. I started exercising again, eating better, taking care of myself. I rediscovered hobbies I'd neglected during my marriage. I spent time with friends I'd lost touch with. Slowly, painfully, I started to rebuild myself. 3 months later, Rachel called me from the treatment center. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Elle, it's me. I know. I'm not supposed to make personal calls, but I'm leaving tomorrow and I wanted to talk to you before I do. Okay. I've been doing a lot of work here, a lot of therapy. And I've realized some things about myself, about why I do the things I do. Good for you. Elle, please, just listen. She took a deep breath. I was jealous of you. For years, you had everything I wanted. The perfect life, the perfect husband, the perfect career. And I had nothing. I was drowning in debt and addiction and self-hatred, and every time I saw you, it made me feel worse about myself. So you decided to take what was mine. No. Yes. I don't know. It wasn't that calculated. But my therapist thinks that subconsciously, that's what I was doing. Trying to prove that you weren't as perfect as you seemed. That your life could fall apart just like mine. Well, congratulations. It worked. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Elle. And I know that doesn't mean anything, but I need you to hear it. I need you to know that I understand now how sick I was, how much damage I caused. Okay, I hear you. Is there any chance... Her voice broke. Is there any chance we could ever be sisters again? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Could I ever trust her again? Could I ever look at her without seeing betrayal? I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe someday, but not now. Not for a long time. That's fair. She was crying now. I love you, Elle. I know I have a terrible way of showing it, but I do. I know you do, in your own broken way. Will you tell David I'm sorry too? Tell him yourself if he wants to hear it. Okay, take care of yourself, Elle. You too, Rachel. Ace. I hung up and sat in the silence of my living room. our living room, the one I'd shared with David for 7 years. I still didn't know if I wanted to save my marriage. David and I had been to couples therapy a few times, and it was helping. We were talking more honestly than we ever had before. We were addressing problems I hadn't even realized we had. But I still didn't trust him. Not fully. And I didn't know if I ever would. Maybe that was okay. Maybe trust was something you had to rebuild slowly, brick by brick. Or maybe some betrayals were just too big to forgive. I didn't have the answer yet. But for the first time in months, I was okay with not knowing. 6 months after everything fell apart, I made my decision. I asked David to meet me at a coffee shop downtown. Neutral territory. He showed up early, looking nervous and hopeful and scared. "I've thought a lot about what I want," I told him. "About whether I can forgive you. About whether we have a future. And I think we do. But not the future we had before. That's gone. That marriage is dead. If we're going to stay together, it has to be different. We have to be different. I can do different. I can be better." It's not about being better, David. It's about being real. We spent 7 years being comfortable and complacent, and that's what let this happen. So if we do this, we do it with our eyes open. With honesty. Even when it's hard. With real communication, not just pleasant small talk. I want that. I want all of that. And I need you to understand that there will be days when I'm angry at you. Days when I look at you and remember what you did. Days when I don't want to be near you. And you have to accept that without getting defensive or making excuses. I will, I promise. Don't promise, just do it. He nodded. Can I ask you something? Yes. Do you still love me? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Did I? After everything? After all the pain and betrayal and lies? Yes, I said finally. I do. I don't want to. It would be easier if I didn't, but I do. He smiled, and for the first time in months, it reached his eyes. Then we'll make it work. However long it takes, whatever it costs, we'll make it work. And maybe we would. Or maybe we wouldn't. Maybe we'd end up divorced in a year. Or maybe we'd make it another 7 years. Or maybe we'd surprise ourselves and make it forever. I didn't know. But I was finally ready to find out. As for Rachel, she stayed in treatment for another 6 months. When she got out, she moved to another city, started fresh. We talked occasionally, brief phone calls every few months. Polite, distant, careful. We would never be close again. Too much had been broken. But we were sisters, and that meant something, even if it wasn't what it used to be. My mother still called me every week, still apologized sometimes for keeping secrets. I told her to stop apologizing. Everyone had done what they thought was right at the time, even if it turned out to be wrong. And me? I learned some things about myself through all of this. I learned that I was stronger than I thought. That I could survive betrayal and pain and still come out the other side. I learned that family was complicated and messy and sometimes cruel, but it was still worth fighting for. Most importantly, I learned that the perfect life I thought I had was an illusion. Real life was harder and messier and more painful than I'd ever imagined. But it was also more honest, more real, more mine. And in the end, that was enough. I look back now on that day when I found David's phone, when I saw that first payment to the clinic, and I wonder what would have happened if I'd never found out. Would they have kept the secret forever? Would I have lived my whole life not knowing what they'd done? Maybe. But I'm glad I know. Because living in a beautiful lie is no life at all. The truth shattered my family. But from those broken pieces, I'm building something new. Something real. Something that might actually last. And that's worth more than all the comfortable lies in the world.